I planted some plants, and
Mm-hmm.
I planted them like 2 weeks ago, and only two of them have popped up.
Okay.
So I don't know what that says about my plant parenting skills. And I had to throw out some tulips. Those tulips already had root rot.
That wasn't my fault.
Their roots did not look good because I have daffodils and like they're not doing super great either, but like they're still green. They're not rotting because I know their roots are healthy. I think they're just trapped in a little, container and can't like flourish because they're outdoor plants or whatever. Um, but these tulips, I pulled them out and the roots were not great looking. So I'm like, and they've just been dying. So I finally threw them out today. But I have a tomato plant and a marigold plant that are doing
So a
okay.
marigold flower.
Marigolds, yeah, my marigolds.
Thank you. Thank you, Gertrude, for the update on your
uh-huh.
plants.
It, you're welcome, Anise. I don't know what your name is.
A knee.
Anise.
A knee. Jeez, somehow sound more exotic. Uh,
Star Anise. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen What? Featuring us two.
Us
Uh,
two, the two of us.
so I'm
They and
Corinne,
I and they.
and my colleague is
Colleague, Monze. We
my
work
colleague
together.
is Monze, and
Colleagues,
we're here to talk about movies
friends, no.
that one or both of us haven't seen because we can. So
That's
this
right. Don't
week
give
we
them
are
answers.
talking
Why are we doing this? Because we can.
because we
We
can.
can. We don't care.
So one movie, the movie today that we're talking about, the movie for the podcast movie that we're talking about
You're really
is
good at this.
Jurassic Park. Uh, Monzi has not seen it. There might be some lingering childhood trauma linked to
I don't know
that.
what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're
um,
talking about.
I actually watched the movie last night.
Did
Um,
you?
I did
I
to
can't
refresh my
wait.
memory.
Okay.
Yeah. Monty, I don't blame you for never watching this movie because I was stressed out the entire time.
I was stressed the entire time.
Honestly. Yeah, I first watched this movie when I was like in early high school, like ninth or 10th grade, and it was
Mm.
one of the scariest movies I'd ever seen at that point. I watched it with
What's the
all my
other? Yeah,
siblings, and
but
we were
what
just
other scary movies
screaming.
have you seen? Let's be real.
Uh, Maybe like a Harry Potter movie or Narnia.
The scariest Harry Potter movie. The hairiest Harry
Yeah,
Potter movie.
after that one was Jaws. So,
I still haven't seen Jaws.
uh,
I really want to see Jaws. Don't mute
that's
me.
that's no, I mean that's another one we could talk
We
about.
can
So,
talk about,
Monty,
yeah.
why haven't you seen Jurassic Park?
Why haven't I seen Jurassic Park? Okay,
Yeah, I think we
so
touched on it in the last episode, but let's recap.
did we? I know that I talk about this to lots of people all the time. So, yes, I've never seen Jurassic Park. I really want to see Jurassic Park. I think I've seen the first 2 minutes of Jurassic Park where they're doing like that genome sequence thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're doing that thing. And I think it opens like there's a rock or something. I don't know. And then I stopped and I was like, I'm not emotionally prepared for this. I have favorited on my computer illegal downloading Putlocker link to the movie because I had started the first like 2 minutes and then I just never got back to it, but I still have it bookmarked. But yeah, I don't know if it's the first movie, which is this movie, or the third movie. There's different variations of the story. One is that my mom says she took me to go see Jurassic Park 3 in theaters.
Oh.
And then the other variation is that it was just like on TV, which I kind of think it
Uh-huh.
was just on TV or like my aunt had it on like VHS.
Mhm.
So we were watching it and I sat through it and I was completely freaked. And I was so scared. I was so scared that I like just never touched it. I remember Jurassic World trailers and I was like, that looks pretty, I'd probably watch it. And then I started thinking about it. I was like subconsciously, I was like, you're not gonna go watch that movie. I still haven't seen that movie. I haven't seen that second one. I haven't seen any of the Jurassic Parks. I know it's a book. Haven't read it. Of course not. How can I? Yeah, I like other dinosaur Spielberg movies, like A Dino Story. We're back. No, We're Back. A Dino Story. Which you can find the whole movie on YouTube for free. Just have to watch commercials.
Ah, that's good to know. I haven't watched it yet.
It's so good. I'm trying to get my coworker to watch it. I'm like, you say you love dinosaurs, get on it. But yeah, so that's why I've never seen Jurassic Park.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a ride.
Oh, I've been on the
So.
ride. I went to Disney World.
Universal Studios.
Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Well, I also went to Disney World. I want everyone to know that I went to Disney World. Yeah, I went to Universal Studios. We went on the ride. I think I've also gone when I went to Universal Studios the first time when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And that's fun. And they have the electronics. And it's funny. I think I've told you the story, but Jewel, my little sister, she's like 17 years younger than me. So she's pretty little, right? And she's never been on like any of those big sort of rides before, because we like by the time she was old enough, like Kittyland had been closed, which was like a local amusement park, and she's never gone to Six Flags. So we're on this thing, and she just thinks it's like a nice boat ride. And then when like it gets dark and you're gonna go do the drop, and then like the T-Rex pops out, and then you're dropping, and they take the picture, and her face of pure horror. It was like, like I've never seen her so scared. And my dad is right next to her, equally freaked out. Like they both were not expecting this. They thought it was gonna be a lovely little log ride. So yeah, I've been on the ride. It's a lot of fun. That's like the scariest I can do, like amusement park rides. Like I can't do roller coasters. And I can't do those droppy things or anything.
I hate the drops. I can do a roller coaster, though.
I can't. But, like, the ones that are, like, the log ride, and then you fall down. As I'm falling, I'm like, I regret this, but it's... And then I'm like, I won't do that again. But that's, like, the most hardcore I can do in amusement parks. That's why I don't go to Six Flags. No one ever wants to ride the teacups with me. It's become, like, my therapy session.
I can't do those.
The teacup?
I get dizzy, and I'm like, I want to get off right now.
But I prefer those over anything else.
Oh no, I don't like the teacups. I don't like anything that's gonna spin me around.
Yeah, I get dizzy. I get like motion sickness playing Spider-Man on my PS4. My coworker's like, "Why are you getting motion sickness?" I'm like, "Look, I don't know, but I always get a headache every time I play. Always." So yes, that's why I haven't seen Jurassic Park. I'm very interested in watching Jurassic Park. I've just never gotten around to it.
Yeah.
And I know various things. There's that meme with that fat guy that's like, "Oh, you haven't done the thing? Does anybody do that?" And then like, see, nobody cares. And then, of course, Jeff Goldblum with his shirt off. I have a T-shirt. I'm surprised I should have worn it today. But
oh my god, you should have worn it.
I have a T-shirt. It's like a cartoon. It's like Jeff Goldblum shirtless. Like a
Jeep. Is it the Funko Pop of him?
No. It's Jeep, and then like the lady and this other guy are running from like a T-Rex or something. So.
Yeah, I was watching the movie last night with my roommate, and like the first like full body like shot we get of Jeff Goldblum, he's like sauntering over to this giant pile of like dino shit, and my roommate was like, "Why is he walking like that?" Like, ooh, Jeff Goldblum, and then later he's got the shirt open. He's like, "Why is he so hot in this movie?"
He's gonna seduce that dino shit.
Yeah, because it was also like his first time seeing it in completion, so I was like, "We're gonna watch this together." So, because he had seen like bits and parts, but not like all of it in one setting. So I was like, "Yeah, that's a lot of people thirst over Jeff Goldblum in this movie."
Yeah,
for good reason.
For good reason.
For good reason.
Yeah, I've seen. My friend sent me a clip of, because we were discussing velociraptors. There's a movie.
As one does.
There's a movie on Amazon Prime called Velocipastor, and then we were, and I really want to see it. It's on my list, cute, whatever. And I think the synopsis of it was like, this pastor's parents die, so he goes to China to be like a minister or like a whatever. and he meets like this lady, and he becomes a velociraptor. A velociraptor.
think
He can
I
turn
think
into
I
a
know what movie you're
velociraptor,
talking
and
about.
he has to
Yeah.
fight like ninjas or something. And so anyway, we were talking about velociraptors and whether they can jump. I don't know why this was, because I said obviously velociraptor is going to be ninjas, and my friend was like, no, ninjas are going to defeat velociraptors. So he sent me a video of velociraptors jumping and eating a guy in like that grassy field or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen
Yikes.
that.
I don't think that's from the first movie unless it
Isn't
starts
it?
with a guy saying clever girl.
Yeah, he says clever girl.
Oh, okay, then yeah, that's the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, clever girl, and I was like, I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
it's like rah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what do you think happens in Jurassic Park?
Hubris. Hubris.
Got the theme, boys.
The
Look
theme
it
is
up.
hubris.
I don't even need to say anything.
Humans are like, I got some dinosaur DNA. I don't know why Jurassic Park. Is it like a theme park? Is that how it starts?
Yeah.
It is
like
supposed to be a theme park. And
Yeah.
they're like, we're going to make some dinosaurs. And they made a bunch of dinosaurs. But then they realized they couldn't control the dinosaurs. And so then, like, the dinosaurs turn on them. And then they're all like, oh, 'twas beauty slaying the beast. Except not that, because that's King Kong.
You know,
like,
in some ways, it's similar to Titanic because hubris is also the downfall of.
oh, I guess that's
Yeah.
true, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, do you want to watch the trailer
No.
before I get into explaining
yeah, of course, yes,
what happens?
Yes.
All right, let's
Clicky-clack.
find a good Jurassic Park trailer. This movie is as old as me.
You're 27. Right, you're born in 93. I always forget.
Yeah, I'm 27. Okay, there's the classic trailers, and then there's the. Oh, no. Okay, we want the movie clips classic trailer.
Helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Old man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding on to my bun, don't worry. Is that Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah!
He has a mustache. And hair! And glasses! Now let's watch the Jurassic World official. No, I'm kidding. Oh no, it's up next in my queue. Delete.
That trailer really understates a lot of the stress in that movie.
You think you're just going in for a really nice dinosaur movie? That's how I feel about what's that those Littlefoot movies?
Oh, A Land Before Time.
Land Before Time. I thought I was going in for a really nice dinosaur movie, and I left weeping. Not even left, because I think it's like Act 1. The grandparents die, right? Like,
yeah.
spoilers.
Or his mom dies. He's looking for his grandparents.
That's what it is. Everybody dies. That movie is so sad.
I know. Cool. So, what do you think happens in the trailer? Anything changed, or do you want to just go straight into the synopsis?
I think I got it.
Okay.
I think I got it.
She's got it. Still hubris.
Still hubris.
Yeah.
It's Samuel L. Jackson's hubris. It's not Samuel L. Jackson's hubris. It's probably that old white guy's hubris.
Yeah. So this movie is actually like really star-studded. Like I don't know who the main guy is, but like Richard Attenborough is like the old man.
Oh, okay.
And then Laura Dern is the woman,
Uh-huh.
and she has gotten some more recent roles lately, like in the bad Star Wars movie, but she was still in it. Yeah, she was the purple hair lady, and then she
had a show on like HBO or Showtime or something a while ago. It was really weird. I watched an episode and I was like, can we stop watching this, Professor?
No. And she was also in Marriage Story and got the supporting actress award this past year for the Oscars. So that's Laura Dern, and that woman has like not changed. She looks the same, just like a little older. And obviously Jeff Goldblum is in the movie. We all know him. And the guy who plays the fat guy, Dennis Nedry, his name's like Wayne something or other, but he was in Seinfeld. He's the big guy in Seinfeld.
I think you're
And
missing out on his most famous role.
Tantor. I was getting
Space
to
Jam.
that. Oh, I only watched Space Jam once. I was gonna say he was the elephant in Tarzan.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. He was the elephant in Tarzan, but more importantly, he was in Space Jam.
He was in Space Jam, yes.
My dad was watching Space Jam the other day, and I had to run from my room and was like, "Are you watching Space Jam?" And my older sister came out and she was like, "Are you watching Space Jam?" Anyway. Love that movie.
Yeah. So he's in quite a few things. And then obviously Samuel L. Jackson. B.D. Wong is in this film, and he's like a baby. He's very, very young. So yeah, there's like a lot of different people that are like, well, I didn't know you're in this movie, which is kind of fun. I think the Samuel L. Jackson reveal is like my favorite one. But yeah, so I'll get into this movie. So basically it starts off they're in like the island off of Costa Rica, Isla Nublar, which my roommate said means cloudy island. So I learned some
Thanks
Spanish.
Thanks for the translation.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. Is
that what it means? Wow. So they're like transporting something into this cage. Yeah, and it's the dinosaur. You never really like see the full dinosaur. But you can tell there's something dangerous in this thing, and like the workers are trying to pull it, and they're like, one guy goes on top and he's like lifting the door, and then the dinosaur like rams against the door, and so he falls into the ground, and the dinosaur like drags him inside and starts like eating him, and everyone's like trying to like kill the dinosaur.
Jesus.
And like, yeah, it starts off pretty intense. So that's why I feel like the trailer is like a poor representation. Because they got like that beautiful theme going
real
on,
fast.
all the stuff is going, and it's like, no, it starts off like, oh, this man is getting eaten alive, and like you see him like getting pulled out of like, there's like a game warden who's got these fantastic thighs and these short shorts.
These fantastic thighs. Those thighs though.
Those thighs though. Ooh, dummy thick. So he's like screaming at them.
Jesus Christ.
He's like, I'm trying to shoot these raptors, but the clap of my ass keeps alerting them. But so he's like yelling at them to shoot the dinosaur. Then it like kind of fades out, and then we go to like this like paleontologist dig thing or whatever, and like the lawyer Gennaro, he's like talking to him about Jurassic Park. He has to go there, and he's like, he doesn't think it's gonna be good. He's talking to some like random dude.
Hey, random guy, here is some.
He's just talking to some random paleontologist, and then the guy's like, "Oh, we found amber." There's like a mosquito in there. Then it cuts to our main paleontologist, which I forgot his name. And Laura Dern. The actor's name is Sam Neill, and Laura Dern.
Alan Grant.
Yes, Alan Grant.
Ellie Sattler.
And Ellie Sattler. Thank you. So Alan and Ellie.
You, Google. Shout out to Google.
Shout out to Google.
They need more representation in media. Saying it for years. Bing has been taking all of their clientele.
Damn Bing. So they're like at the dig, and Alan Grant, they're like establishing their characters. Ellie's like a paleobotanist, and Alan's like the paleontologist, and he's talking about how like dinosaurs turned into birds. And some kid's like, it just looks like a big turkey, and he's like, the guy like comes out with his velociraptor like claw, and like low-key traumatizes the kid with the story about how like the velociraptors would hunt you. And we were watching it, John was like, how does he know that they hunt like this? And I was like,
science.
Fossils? Science? I don't know. Yeah, so they have like that whole scene, and this helicopter comes down, and the old guy is somehow already in their trailer, and he's like, I want you guys to come over and like consult this like park that I have. You guys are specialists in your field. I'm getting like lawyers who are crawling all over me. I need like an outside opinion, and you guys are completely independent. I want you to endorse my park. They're like, all right, cool. They have no idea what this park entails. They don't even know there's dinosaurs. They're just like, all right, cool. So they go over.
Really? They're like,
Yeah,
whatever.
they don't know. They're just like, hey, this guy wants our opinion. All right, cool. We'll go with
The
you.
90s
So
were so easy. Such a
I
simpler
know
time.
they fly to Hawaii, aka Isla Nublar,
Hawaii.
and yeah, and then they land in the guy like kind of shows them around. I don't remember how did they see the dinosaurs?
I don't
They're
know. I
like
didn't watch the movie.
I think they're driving for a while and then they see the dinosaurs in the distance and you have that like moment where they like see the dinosaurs for the first time and they like collectively lose their shit. And they meet the mathematician Ian Malcolm. He's like a chaos theory person and he's known about this park from the very beginning and he constantly tells Dr. Hammond like this isn't gonna work. You can't control nature, the hubris, man, like the chaos. It's not gonna work. And then they have the lawyer there too. Oh. And then also there's like a scene where we see Dennis Nedry, the big guy, who is talking. That's where we get the meme scene. Like this
Mm-hmm.
guy like shows up and he's like, oh, don't tell people who I am. And the guy like shouts who he is and he's like, see, no one here cares. No one cares who you are. Like, why are you acting like a secret agent or whatever? So the guy he's meeting is like this competing genetics people. They want dinosaur samples. And so Dennis, they're paying him to steal samples and give it to them. So he's supposed to go to the East Dock at 7 to drop off the samples and he's like I can do it in 18 minutes and I'll get it for you cuz he needs money. He's in some financial problems. So that's like kind of like this side plot that's important. So then we see like the dinosaurs are like, oh my god, there's dinosaurs. Like, how did you do this? And Dr. Hammond's like, I'll show you. And they go back,
I'm
they go to
glad
the
you
visitor
asked.
center.
I've been
Honestly,
waiting for someone to ask.
cannot wait. So they go to the visitor center and they're like on this ride that has like the little like
Right.
it has like it's like a sit down like thing and it shows like
Uh-huh.
this animation that explains like how we got dinosaurs. So they like extracted blood from like a mosquito, like an
We
old mosquito from
extracted the blood
amber.
from an old
And they have
mosquito.
like damaged dinosaur DNA and they fill in the sequence with amphibian or bird DNA. So then you have a full dinosaur. And that's how they made them.
What?
And then
That doesn't make
yeah.
any sense.
So
I'm
okay,
sorry,
so
but
it's
that
because
science does not check out.
so the idea is because the mosquito would have sucked dinosaurs' blood. It would have landed on a tree
What?
because there were mosquitoes back
No,
then.
I'm not saying there were no mosquitoes. I'm sure that the world was just mosquitoes for a very long time. But the fact that they're like, we're just gonna extract some it's probably got some dinosaur blood. Like, you don't know. And anyway, I'm just saying the science doesn't seem to check out.
Well, they do, Monze.
I'm a myth buster, and I'm busting this myth right here, right now.
What do you mean the science doesn't check out? Can't you see from the real dinosaurs existing right now?
Don't insult my real dinosaurs like that.
But yeah, so the idea is like these prehistoric mosquitoes that just sucked dinosaur blood landed on a tree, got trapped in amber, and were preserved for like zillions of years. And then scientists found it and were like, oh, there's some dinosaur blood in here. So they extract the blood, but it's like damaged because it's old or whatever. So they find dinosaurs' closest relatives now, and they put in the missing DNA to like fill it out so that you actually get a dinosaur.
So chickens.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's amphibians, which is important. So they go into like the lab, and the adults are like, "I want to see like the eggs and everything." So they pop out of the seats, and they're like going out. And John's like, they're wearing gloves for a reason. Why are these people just like walking around here not wearing gloves? I'm like, I don't know, man. So they're like touching everything.
I love touching stuff.
So they're like looking at the eggs. They watch a dinosaur get hatched, and Ian Malcolm, the Jeff Goldblum, he's like, how do you control the population? And they're like, oh, all these dinosaurs are females. We coded into them. They are all born female. And he's like, okay, but how do you know? Like, are you going out into the park, like checking the dinosaurs' skirts or anything? They're like, no, we just know. This is just what we do. BD Wong is here. He's the one saying all this. He's like the head geneticist. And the Dr. Alan Grant is like, this is a velociraptor.
Aren't female animals more aggressive?
Maybe. They can be. I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm just Mythbuster number 2. Busted that myth.
Well, the reasoning they gave, BD Wong gave, was that everything starts off female.
Yeah.
But you get an additional chemical or whatever at a certain stage that makes you male. So they just halt that from happening. So that's why that everything is female.
All right. Again,
so that because
they
halted like some sort of chemical thing from happening to make it male, which I think is true. I think everyone does start off female, and then if you're male, the testosterone or whatever kicks in, and then you get the penis and the gonads.
Whoa.
But
whoa.
So yeah.
Explicit rating.
So the math guy is like, this is the scene where he's like, this is you're trying to control something that you can't control, like you're trying to control life, and he's like,
I like well, that guy.
There it is.
That's my
guy. And he
guy
says
right
like life finds a way.
That's
he has that famous
right
scene. Yeah,
that
and
famous
then
scene.
That life finds a way. And then Dr. Alan Grant, he's like, is this a velociraptor? And they're like, yeah, we breed velociraptors. He's like, you breed those? He's like, yeah, dude. And he's like, this seems dangerous.
Why? What's his reasoning?
Because it's a velociraptor.
Yeah. I don't get it though. Why is he so scared? It's just a velociraptor.
They're only like one of the most top predators. So they're like going along. And I think that Dr. Hammond, they're like eating. Oh, wait. They go out to go see the raptors. And Dr. Hammond is like trying to get them to just like, oh yeah, they're there. Let's just go eat. But then the game warden comes out and they're about to feed the raptors. And the game warden is clearly like, I don't think we should have these things. Like, they are too dangerous. He says that like they got this new female who like killed the other top females in like the group because they're pack animals, and that she's like the alpha raptor now, and she's really, really smart. And he was saying like every time they had to like stop coming to the fence to feed them because the raptors would like attack the fence trying to find like a weak point because it's an electric fence. And he's like, they never attack the same spot twice. They remember. So what they do is they get this cow and they like drop it in from the sky into the tank or like the enclosure, and then the raptors, you hear them like going at it. You don't like see anything.
Yeah.
You just see their expressions, and you see like the leaves moving and stuff through their face, which Steven Spielberg's pretty good at like suggesting a lot of stuff happening and like still showing it in a way.
Well, I mean, he's had a lot of practice with Jaws and the shark not working, so you gotta...
Yeah, exactly. So he's very good at that. So they're like, oh, lost our appetite, and then it cuts to them actually eating. And Dr. Hammond's like, so what do you guys think? And the lawyer's like, this is gonna make us so much money. I am on board.
Typical lawyer.
Yeah, everybody else is like, nah, man, nah, no, this is not good. Like Ellie is like, you're dealing with these, like, you have poisonous plants here that you don't like, you're just picking them because you think they look good, but like they don't jive well with the actual animals. Like you're just kind of mixing things together without understanding the ecosystem. And Alan Grant is like, yeah, and like it just doesn't feel right. Like we don't know anything about these animals. And Malcolm is like, the chaos theory, man. It's going to fall apart. Like this park is doomed from the start. There's too many variables here. Something could totally go wrong, and you're trying to control it. And he explains chaos theory too, because they're like, what's chaos theory? And he's like, it's like the butterfly effect. And he tries to show it with like water can drip down on like any spot of your hand while flirting with the woman, which is like, okay. But so they're going over that, and then Dr. Hammond's like, oh my god, I can't believe all I have is a lawyer on my side, but I'll show you guys a tour of the actual park, and my grandkids are here. So the grandkids are there, and
that's
they, like,
how the
go
kids
off
are
into the
there. I
park.
was wondering. I'm like,
Yeah.
whose kids are these? Okay.
Yeah, he, like, has them for the weekend, and he wants to show them the park because he's like, I want to make this to spark the imagination of the people because we have dinosaurs and blah blah blah. It's gonna be great. He's like, I had a flea circus, and well, he says that later, but he just wants to make something like special for his kids or whatever, like his
So he started with a
grandchildren.
flea circus, and he ends with Jurassic Park.
Yeah, because he wanted to make something that was like real. So this is the conversation that happens much later in the movie after like shit goes down, and Ellie Sattler's like, "But this is still an illusion, John." And he's like, "Oh, I guess you're right." So they go out into the park, and like they go into like the Dilophodus, which is like the venom spitting dinosaur, and like they don't see anything, and then they go to the T-Rex paddock and they don't see anything. They actually put like a goat there, and the T-Rex still doesn't come out.
They've
And they're like,
run
"Oh, I
off.
haven't seen any
They've
dinosaurs." So they're
escaped.
like, so they keep going. And then while this is happening, we meet Samuel L. Jackson. He's like one of the head of like the security, so he's in charge of like the computers. And then Dennis Nedry is like he's like the main security, like he's kind of like their IT person. So
Okay.
he's the programmer, he's the one who set up all the code and everything, and he feels underappreciated, underpaid at the job. People don't really like respect him, whatever. And he's got like the code so he can go steal the thing. He has like a Barbasol like shaving cream can that like actually sprays shaving cream so that he can smuggle the stuff out. So that way like TSA won't, suspect anything because it looks like a can and it won't show the samples. So he's like got this kind of set up in the background, and but they hear that like a storm is like coming in. So there's this
Mm-hmm.
big storm that's coming in, and the
It's a
game
storm
warden
on
tells
Bubba
him
Road.
like, yeah, he's like, there's a storm coming, so like think about that. So like they go on this thing, they haven't seen any dinosaurs, and then at some point one of them like leaves the car for some reason, and then they go out and they see this triceratops, and they're like, oh my god, we finally saw a dinosaur. And Ellie Sattler's like, she's sick. And there's like a veterinarian there that's like, yeah, we know she's sick, we don't know what's wrong with her. And she's like, oh my god, I think she's like poisoned from something, blah 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 blah. And they're like, well, I don't know. So they're having this moment with the Triceratops. It's like, oh, we finally saw a dinosaur. And then like the game warden's like, I told you guys we should have like a locking mechanism in the car so they can't leave the car because you can't like drive the car. It's all electric and it's on a track. And they just like left the car. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you have auto locks on there? But so while they're out here, it's like raining
Mm-hmm.
and the storm is like pretty much here. There's a coast, like the East Dock, it's like crazy. And this guy is like telling Dennis, like, you need to come now. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's early, it's too early. He's like, oh, just give me like some more time. Like, come on, man. Like I thought it would be at this time and you're trying to get me to come early. He's like, I need you to come now or we're gonna leave. He's like, okay, fine. So now Dennis, he like sets the code. He can't get it to be faster because he wanted it to be 15 minutes, but he can only get to like 20 or 18. So he's like, all right, I'll just set the code now. And he tells them like, I'm running a security check. Like some of the systems are gonna go on and off. Nothing to worry about. I'm gonna go to the vending machine. Do you want anything? They're like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. So
Yeah, give me a Kit Kat bar. What do you, John? What do you? I want a Mr. Good bar. Okay. Well, do you get? They got Coke. Do they refill the Coke? Just Pepsi. Man, all right, fine. I guess I gotta Diet Pepsi. Like, what
pretty
the
much.
heck? Like, this is not the best part for you to be going to get snacks.
Yeah. So, but he's pretending to get snacks because he's leaving to go steal those dino samples. So
Oh,
he's
okay.
putting them in the shaving cream because he has
So
to turn
he's
off the
just like,
security
I'm gonna use
cameras.
my fat guy image
Mm-hmm.
to the best of
To
my
commit
ability
to commit crime.
to commit crime. Should we check it out, Dennis?
So
Nah, he's just getting some snacks.
exactly. So he goes off and like he's turned off all the cameras surrounding this so he can like steal it because that's part of it. And then he also turns off like the gate thing and all of that so he can drive out and go to the East Dock. So now they're telling everyone, get in the car, come back, we need you to come back. So they come back and the systems are kind of going on and offline and everything. And then suddenly like everything starts shutting down. Like the electric fences start shutting down. And then the cars come to a halt and they
Of
are right in
course.
front of the T-Rex paddock.
Of course.
Of course. And it is like pouring rain. It is dark. It is nighttime. They don't know what's going on. They don't have any phones. Everything is gone. At this point, the people back at the visitor center realize something wrong has happened. Dennis is like driving like a maniac to the East Dock. He like runs over the sign somehow. And when he puts it back, he has no idea which way, like the sign can swivel. So he's like, I don't know which way the East Dock is anymore. So he just picks a direction and goes.
What?
So
Okay.
yeah, so now we have entered stress zone.
Stress zone?
Yeah, this movie is like 2 hours long.
So this
We've
would be
just
like
passed...
what? Like midpoint, maybe?
No, this is like the end of the first act.
This is
like
end act 1?
I'm pretty sure this is like 30 to 45 minutes in. The next hour and a half is just stress. So they're in front of the T-Rex paddock.
My God.
Oh
okay.
my God. Yeah. I was watching this, I was like, why am I watching this movie again? I've only watched this movie 3 times in my entire life, and last night was the 3rd time.
Oh,
so, yeah. So the kids are like rummaging around, and the girl or the guy, whatever, like the kid finds like these night goggles, and they're like they have this like flashlight, and the iconic like water glass scene happens. It's like they hear this thing, the dunk, like the rivulets, yeah. And they're like looking, and like that goat is still there at first, but then like they look, and then the goat is gone, and they're like, what? And they're looking, and then suddenly this like loud crash happens on the roof of the car, and it's like the goat leg. So there's like this like half like this goat leg, there's blood everywhere, the kids are screaming, the girl finds like the flashlight, she's like waving it all over the place, she's like, oh my God. And then the T-Rex like realizes the fence is not electric, so the T-Rex breaks the fence,
of course,
and steps out into the car, and it's like, I'm free.
I'm free. What is that?
That's the T-Rex's face. Like, I'm free.
That's your T-Rex?
Yeah, it's like, imagine you were like locked in an electrified like bathroom, and then suddenly you realize the door.
Not even like a bedroom, just a bathroom. Like, it's so uncomfortable.
The door is like not electric anymore, and you open it, and you're like, ooh, and then you look down, and there's like these metal canisters with snacks in them. It's like you just found like 2 things of tuna like sitting right in front of you, and one of them is like blinking lights at you. So like, oh,
that tuna's signaling me. It wants to be eaten.
Pretty much. So this T-Rex, like because Alan Grant is telling the math guy, he's like, don't move. The T-Rex, his vision is based on movement, but the kids are losing their goddamn mind. They are like rolling, got flashlight all over the place. Yeah. Oh, and then the lawyer also, like, he realizes what's happening because that T-Rex is like right there. He books it. He leaves the vehicle. He runs into the bathroom. He's like, I'm gonna hide in this bathroom because this T-Rex will not know I'm here. So the kids are alone in the car. The door is open. The little brother, who's like obsessed with dinosaurs. Also, this girl is like into computers, and the brother's like into dinosaurs. This is important. He's like yelling at her to like turn the light off. He's going to see us, and he like grabs like the door, and he like closes it. As soon as he closes it, the dinosaur like immediately looks at them and then like screams into the car. And then the kids are like screaming, and then there's this horrifying scene where like the T-Rex like comes in from the top, and he like pushes down on like the roof of the car, so he pops like, it's like what, plexiglass, so he pops the plexiglass roof down, and the kids are like on their back with their hands and legs up, like screaming, like holding this plexiglass shield, which is the only thing between them and the T-Rex's like mouth, and it's like pushing down. They're just screaming and crying, and I'm just thinking, like, if I was in this situation, like, oh my God, I'd be doing the same thing.
I would have died already. You know what? No, I wouldn't have died because I wouldn't have gone. I would not have gone.
Honestly, so like this is like a really like like I remember when I first watched this, my sister Emma was like screaming like just as much as the kids were when we were watching the movie, which my mom thought was really funny. But yeah, it was so like there, it's like right there, and he keeps like doing that. Because the T-Rex knows those kids are in. So now the adults are like, oh, we should do something.
Oh, now they're like, hey.
So Alan like grabs one of like these.
The T-Rex is like picking his teeth with the children's bones, and the adults are like, well, I think it's about time we stepped in. What do you think?
Honestly. So
Oh my
Alan
god.
grabs like a what's it like a flare, and he
Okay.
gets out of the car and he like yells at the T-Rex. He's like, "Hey!" And he throws the flare into the woods because he's trying to get the T-Rex to go away. But then resident hot idiot Ian Malcolm comes out and he also gets a flare and he's like, hey, I'm helping too. And Alan's like, what are you doing? And he's like, go get the kids. And he starts running, but like T-Rex can run at like 35 miles an hour, so he's like, oh shit. So he like, I think he throws it or something or whatever, but eventually like the T-Rex like kind of like either roars or like kind of throws him into where the bathroom area is. So now the bathroom gets completely blown down. The lawyer is sitting on the toilet and he's like, "Oh my god."
Is he pooping,
And he's
or
like,
is he just sitting there?
he's just sitting there.
Okay.
And he's like wiping like rain out of his eyes. He's like trying to see, and the T-Rex is like, "Uh-huh." And then just like the guy's like here, and the T-Rex just like comes down, just
Oh
eats
my
him
god.
oh,
That's embarrassing.
just yeah, just like throws him around and is eating him. And I was like, that was like my first like really graphic on screen like death that I'd ever seen. So that scene like really sticks with me. I'm like, oh my god, he just like um so this is happening, and then Alan is trying to get the kids out, and oh also while they're like trying to distract him, the kids like the T-Rex had rolled the car over, so the car is upside down. And the T-Rex is kind of treating the car like prey, so he's like ripping out the bottom of the car trying to get to the kids, but they're in like mud, so the kids are like in danger of getting either eaten by the T-Rex, crushed by the car, or drowning in the mud. So this is when the adults come into action. So then the adults like go in, and Alan Grant is like trying to get the kids out. He gets the girl out. The boy's leg is stuck by the chair, of course.
Classic.
Classic. The girl like gets out and she like loses her mind and screams, and the guy's like, cover her mouth. He's like, don't move, because the T-Rex is back. And eventually the T-Rex leaves. So they're like, okay. But then the T-Rex actually, no, the T-Rex doesn't leave. He like pushes the car around in circles, so they have to like constantly like be on the other side of the car, and that boy is still under there.
Completely alive. His leg is not torn
he's
off.
like he's like crying and everything. They're like rolling it around. Then the T-Rex starts like pushing the car over like the fence thing or whatever. Because apparently it's a drop. So I'm like, okay, how did the T-Rex climb out of this? Now that I think about it, that doesn't make any sense, because the electric
they
fence
used
is
their
like
little arms to scale the side.
like a pull-up bar.
Yeah, like a pull-up bar.
Yeah, now that I think about it, that doesn't make any sense. How did the T-Rex? Because it looks like there's like a wall that ditches down, like you know how in the zoo they have like that wall thing.
If velociraptors
and then there's
can
a
jump,
fence.
so can T-Rexes.
Maybe that's how T-Rex got out. So there's an inconsistency that I just realized. But anyway, so they're like pushing. The T-Rex like pushes the car off, and then the other two have to like climb down. And the boy is still in the car. While this is happening, Dennis is like driving, and he drives to the Dilophosaurus, whatever, the poison dinosaur area. He crashes his car in there, and the car gets like totally stuck. So he gets out, and he like slides down this thing, and he sees like the East Dock. This is my least favorite scene, because I had read the book, and this was my least favorite scene in the book, so I was like not ready for it in the movie. I never watched this scene.
He's gonna get picked apart.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, the East Dock is here. So he's trying to like get the car. He's like trying to like tie the car to the tree so he can like get the car out and drive over. He's almost there. And then the dinosaur pops up and he's making all these like kind of cute noises. This is the dinosaur with the frills in the water ride that spits water at you.
That one.
Yeah, that one. So he's making all these like cute noises, and he's like kind of talking to the dinosaur, and I'm just stressed the entire time because I'm like, it's gonna happen. When is it gonna happen? I cannot, like, I hate this. So he's like, whatever, and then he gets frustrated. He just like has this moment with the dinosaur. He's just like yelling at it, and then he tries to leave. I don't know this part very well because I never watch it. So then the dinosaur like follows him.
You have your eyes covered him.
I like this, and I'm just hearing.
Tell me what's happening right now.
I know. And at some point, the dinosaur like, because the frill is down, the dinosaur's frill goes up, and it like spits venom at him, I think, but on the shirt. And then the guy is like, because he doesn't have his glasses. He lost his glasses when he fell down earlier, so he doesn't have his glasses, and he's running around blind. And then he like
Velma.
looks up at the dinosaur, and the dinosaur spits like the venom goo directly into his eye. So
Oh
he's
my God.
screaming. Oh my, yeah, it's horrible. So he's screaming, and he's like, ah! And he's like pulling it off, and he finally gets into his car, and he's like, oh my God, I'm here. But nope, the dinosaur is in the car with him.
Oh my goodness.
So we pan out of the car and you just hear him like screaming, and the dinosaur's like eating him, and it's horrible, disgusting. It's my least favorite scene in the movie. So
we're gonna glaze right over that and move on.
Yeah, we're gonna go over that. So that's happening. Meanwhile, somehow Laura Dern and the veterinarian get to the visitor center okay, with like no incident. They realize that the kids and all of them are still out there, so they're like, oh, we're gonna drive out to go find them. They see the abandoned stuff and everything. They find Ian Malcolm.
Laura Dern was with the kids.
No, she was. Oh, at first she was like, I want to stay with the Triceratops to see what's wrong with him. So she's like not
it's just
here.
Ian and Alan.
It's just Ian and Alan.
Kids. Okay.
Yeah. So now Ian is unconscious and Alan is with the kids, and they're like in a tree. Oh, and then Alan has to get the boy out of the car.
Yeah.
They have to like quickly climb down the tree while the car is like ka-chunking down after them. So then Laura Dern and the game warden are like out here, and they find Ian Malcolm and the remains of the lawyer. And they get Ian onto like the car, and they're like kind of trying to look for the others, and Ian's like feeling like he looks down at the footprint of the T-Rex. He sees the water doing the dung thing, and he's like, guys, you need to come here right now. So he's like, come on. And they get into the car, and they're driving. The T-Rex is following them, and he's like, oh my God, he's gonna eat me. So they're like driving really quickly away from the T-Rex, and somehow like the T-Rex doesn't have good endurance because he's not a cardio person. So they like escape the T-Rex, and they get back to the visitor center. Okay.
One of the things about humans is that we have really good endurance compared to animals. So like a cheetah can run really fast, but they can only do it in short bursts.
Yeah, if they run for too long at that speed, they like literally burn their insides up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another fun random fact.
This movie's so long. So the kids are like, they're sleeping in a tree. They wake up. They see like Brontosaurus. Like, oh my God, it's great. It's beautiful. These are plant dinosaurs. And then they're like walking around, like trying to get back to the visitor center. There's generally no incident. They see like the T-Rex eat some like Gallimimus, like the ostrich dinosaurs. And then they basically get back. So like nothing of like importance is really happening with them. Okay. But then back here, they're like trying to fix the code that Dennis put, but they can't do it. So they have to hard reset everything, which means all the power is off, everything is off in order to system reboot.
Okay, because so like the enclosures and stuff, that's what you mean.
Yeah, like because before
how are you gonna system reboot the dinosaurs? Okay, yeah, okay.
The enclosures, because like everything in like the main park is closed off, but there's still some power in like other places. It's just the phones don't work, some of the cameras don't work, and a lot of the enclosures don't work. Okay. But the Velociraptor area, that's still good going, like that's still electrified. But now they're saying, oh, we have to turn everything off in order to system reboot, so that way the code gets erased because his code is too long. Samuel L. Jackson really doesn't want to do it, but John Hammond's like, people are out there, they're dying. And I'm like, yeah, because of you. So they eventually do it. So Sam Jackson does it, and it seems to be working. The computer is beeping like, oh yeah, the system reboot is happening. Like, all right, cool, but the power is still not completely coming on. So then Samuel L. Jackson's like, oh, there's an auxiliary power thing that we have to manually, like there's like a circuit breaker.
Of course.
That we have to manually turn back on. They're like, where is it?
How inconvenient, rather.
It's on the other side of the facility.
You don't put your failsafe right next to the other thing. Why would you do that? It's like when mad scientists have self-destruct buttons. Like, this was highly convenient. Because I was like, I'm going to self-destruct this one day. Like, no!
Yep. Okay. So they got to go to the complete whole other side. They have to go outside to go find this thing. Samuel L. Jackson's like, oh, I can do it. It'll take 3 minutes. I'll be back. They're like, okay. I'm like, he ain't coming back.
5 minutes later.
Literally 5 minutes later, Laura Dern is like, I don't like this. He's taking too long. The power's not back on. Something's wrong. And John Hammond's like, oh, there's delays. All amusement parks have delays. She's like, no, there's something wrong. I'm going to go out there. So the game warden gets like a gun, and he's like, yeah, we'll go. I'll go with you. Because he knows the Velociraptor area is right next to the stupid fucking plays.
Yeah,
where
of course.
The circuit breaker is.
Sorry, R.I.P. Samuel L. Jackson. Like,
yeah. So they're going out. It's daytime now. They're going out, and then she's like, nothing's really happened yet. He's like, oh, because they're hunting us. He's like, they're here. And then he tells her like, okay, you need to run. I'm going to stay here. So you need to just go, and I'm going to stay here, you know? So she books it. She runs over. She thinks she's safe as soon as she gets inside the facility. So she's like, she gets kind of lost. They're like, they've got walkie-talkies. They're trying to talk her through how to find everything. She finds a circuit breaker. And finally, she's like, all right, cool. I found the circuit breaker. We're good. So she starts turning the stuff on. But while she's turning the stuff on, the kids and Alan Grant out in the park are climbing one of the fences.
Oh, no!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're climbing one of the fences.
Oh,
so they're and he
God.
the whole time he's being like, take your time, no rush, like we'll be able to go. Because he tested it beforehand and it wasn't electric. So now they're climbing up. They're on the other side, and then he and the girl are down, but then like the boy is still up there, and the light starts blinking, and they're like, oh shit, like the electricity's gonna come on. So they're telling him like, you need to jump, like jump on 3, and like the guy counts on 3 and the boy still doesn't jump.
Stupid
and you can see like as she's pressing the buttons.
Does that kid grow up to be Chris Pine in Jurassic World?
So she's like pressing buttons, and you can see all the way down like perimeter fence is like not been pressed yet, but she's getting there because
she's getting there for sure
as fast as she can. So it's like really suspenseful, and then the kid's like, all right, I'm gonna jump on 3, and he goes 1, and then the lady like pushes it right when he says 2. So when he says 2, there's like a poof, and then he like gets shocked off the fence, and he's like not breathing, so CPR has to be done, but he survives. But Alan Grant, he survives, and he wakes up and he just says 3. And John was like, what kind of kid?
Dumb kid! I remember that kid! Throw him back on the fence. Throw him back on the goddamn fence.
Right? So they just casually walk back to the visitor center. But then as soon as Ellie, everything's on. She's like, we did it. Everything's good. This velociraptor pops his head out right in front of her. And she just screams like, ah! And she's like running away from this thing because this velociraptor's coming at her. Because it's inside the facility. And then she crashes against this thing, and this like arm kind of falls on her. She's like, oh, it's Dr. Arnold, Samuel L. Jackson. She's like, thank God. But then like she like is holding the
his arm.
It's just his arm. So she's screaming, and she's like limping because somehow like the cord of like her flashlight or whatever, like something is stuck on her foot. So she's like limp running out of the facility, and she's like limp running back to the visitor center. Somehow she like closes the door and everything. Somehow she's like climbing over shit and everything. Somehow escapes the velociraptor.
How I feel like when I'm running away from a tarantula on Animal Crossing. Or the wasp.
Honestly.
The wasps and then always get me.
Yeah, the wasps. And then while this is happening, Mr. Cavs McGee, he sees the velociraptor, and he's like, I got you. But then from the side, you get the other one. That's when he turns, he goes, clever girl, and then they eat him. Which is, terrifying.
Oh.
Even though for once, the man with the gun was actually the most reasonable person. So she comes across Alan, and they have like this reunion. She's like, oh, thank God, like we need to get back to the visitor center. They get back in there, they drop like the kids off. The kids are like eating. And Alan
I just went through this whole traumatic experience, but I'd like a hot dog and some tater tots, please.
That's literally what happens. They see Jell-O, and they're like, all right, man.
Jell-O!
Cake.
You know what? Jell-O's good though. I don't blame them.
Yeah, so they're eating, and then now it's just the kids. They're by themselves. The adults are in the control room or whatever.
They just ditch the kids. They're gonna get eaten by a dinosaur. So
the kids, the girl, my mom always says her face acting is so good. The boy is like eating and he's happy, and then the girl is like holding the Jell-O, and her face is like, oh my God, like I'm seeing something horrifying. Her hand is just shaking, the Jell-O's quivering.
And the Jell-O
and you see the boy that she's looking at, and there's like the shadow of the raptor behind him, like on the wall, and they're like, oh my fucking God. So they run into the kitchen. And I think we saw this in film editing. I swear to God, we've seen this scene somewhere in school. But they run into the kitchen, and they close the door, and they hide. And then at some point, the adults are like, "Oh, are we safe from the raptor?" She's like, "Yeah, like one of them is in the thing, like unless they learn how to open doors." And that's
Oh,
when you
and the
get the
head
iconic scene
pops in
where
through the door.
no,
Oh.
the handle is like turning and turning
Oh
and
my
turning,
god.
and then it opens, and then the head comes out, and they learn how to pop open the door.
Oh my
So
god.
the kids are like, "Oh my god, we're not safe in here." So there, and it's like completely quiet. Like there's no music until the door opens. So there's like one, and it like sees it. It's like, "Ooh, I'm in the kitchen. There's someone
I'll
in
make me a
here."
fry up.
And
Gonna have me
then he
some
like
eggs.
does like the hooting thing, and then the other three, like the other two velociraptors come in, and so there's three velociraptors in this kitchen with these two kids. So
Three
the two kids are
velociraptors,
like
two children. Who
crawling
will win?
around. Eventually they outmaneuver the raptors. The one of the boy, like the boy, like traps one of the raptors in the freezer room, but he's also limping. And then the girl like
Why though?
managed
What
like
happened
they
to him?
I don't remember. He's limping for some reason. He's
Yeah.
got like bandages on his hand from the Arctic
He was
shock.
trapped under a car. Remember?
Yeah. So eventually the kids outmaneuver the velociraptors. It's very intense, but they manage to get out, and they close the thing and they run into like the control room. But then the velociraptors are right behind them, and then like they're trying to close the door, but the locks are controlled by electricity, and they still don't have everything up and running
Oh my
yet
god.
in the system. So now the two adults are like trying to keep the door closed, and this velociraptor is like bopping it open. They're like, "Grab the gun." She's like, "I can't grab the gun." Blah, blah, blah. But then the girl, she's into computers, so she's like, "I know this system." So she's like using the fucking slowest computer operating system in the goddamn world to like find the folder that's like the door locks, and then she finds it, and then she sets it up, and then they finally lock. So they're
Like, it was
finally
1993. Okay, I'm sure it was very fast.
honestly, they're finally Gucci. And they tell Dr. Hammond, like, we're good, because he and Malcolm are still downstairs in some other, like, safe room somewhere. And they're like, we're good. Except they're not good. Because now the velociraptors are trying to, like, break in through the window.
Oh my
So they're like,
god.
ah! So they, like, shoot it. They
There's
climb
no
onto the
end. I
vents.
keep thinking this movie's gonna end.
This movie is so long. Okay, we're in the final stretch here, though. So they're running away from the velociraptors. They're crawling through the vents. The velociraptors can jump. The girl, it like, there's like a scene where like they're crawling over, and the velociraptors can see the bumps of like the vents of where the people are. So it like pops its head up.
Oh, and it goes, ah, in the thing, right? Yeah.
And the girl is on top of the vent that it popped up, so they like slap him down, but then the whole thing falls through. So the girl almost completely falls through. She's like holding on, and they're like pulling her up in the slowest possible way. And this raptor's like, I'm about to get some like, I'm about to eat some child right here, and he doesn't. But it's like as soon as they pull her up, the velociraptor pops up. I'm like, oh my god. So they're going around, and then they like pop out in like the main atrium of the visitor center where all the bones are, and they climb onto the bones. Like they have like this giant like skeletons of like the dinosaurs like in the welcome to Jurassic Park area. So they're like climbing on the bones, and the velociraptors like are jumping over them. So they're like rotating around and swiveling on these bones and like dropping onto the floor. And then there's like the four of them against like these two raptors. And they're like, we're gonna die. And then the Deus Ex Machina, Mrs. Tyrannosaurus Rex herself comes popping through and like eats the velociraptor and the other one. So the dinosaurs are now fighting among themselves. So the humans run away, they get onto a helicopter, and they escape. Also, something I forgot to add, the reason why the other thing too, even though all the dinosaurs are females, they find like a brood of eggs, like eggshells, while like the kids and Alan Grant find like eggshells out while they're walking. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, they said amphibian DNA. There is a type of West Nile frog that can switch its like sex from female to male spontaneously in like a same sex environment or whatever. So they're like, that's what happens. So these animals are breeding. And in the book, they say something of like they have like some sort of software that can check the population, but the software how it works is it counts up to a certain number. So it's told there should only be 1,200 dinosaurs. So it counts 1,200, and it's like, oh, we're good. But it doesn't count more than 1,200 because it's not being told to count more than 1,200. So in the book they have that in there, but yeah, that's like additional, like they weren't keeping track of like the population growth happening, so there's more dinosaurs than they thought, and it's out of control and yada yada. So they get airlifted out, and they're finally like out, and then Grant is like, Dr. Hammond, I am not endorsing your park. And Dr. Hammond's like, me neither. So they leave. And that's
I'm bad, bro.
He realizes his hubris, and they leave, and that's the end of the movie.
Until
So,
Jurassic Park 2.
The Lost World, yeah, which I have not seen. So that's the movie.
That
It's
sounds
2 hours
so
long. It's
stressful.
a lot of movie, and an hour and a half of it is just pure stress.
I'm so
Like,
tired.
yeah, it's so much.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah,
I'm glad I haven't seen it. Sounds
yeah.
so
I was gonna say
scary.
like it's like. I'm telling you, this is like the scariest movie I had seen until I saw Jaws, and it was still the scariest movie until I saw American Werewolf in London, which I just hate that movie.
American Werewolf
Um,
London.
and then it was still like on like the top 10 of like scariest movies, and the only movies that keep like taking the place are the other Jurassic Park movies. Although I do like Jurassic World. I feel like that movie I was able to handle, but the newest Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, whatever, I really didn't like that movie. I was stressed out the entire time. So it's like it's a good movie, and there's a lot to it that's like you can read into it and analyze it, and it's really well made, and the story is really good, and like the
Mhm.
source material is good as well. And it's like one of my friend's like favorite movie. He watches it like 3 times a year. He loves it. And the
Jurassic
music
Park?
is beautiful. Yeah, Jurassic Park. He like loves that movie. He has the whole thing memorized. And but I like it's a good movie, but I in good conscience cannot recommend it to you because I was so stressed out while watching it.
Yeah, my friend, my coworker, this is his favorite movie. He used to watch it all the time
Mhm.
as a kid. Like this was
Mhm.
his go-to movie. He had it like they recorded it on his dad recorded it on VHS.
Mhm.
And like and of course he had to like stop before or after the commercial. So sometimes just like a random old commercial in there. Like he
Mhm.
watches it all the time. He loves dinosaurs. Like this is his bread and butter. But like he's like, why haven't you seen it yet? I was like, let me tell you about this story of when I was a child. He's like, I don't. Why haven't you seen it yet? Like I just told you about my trauma, please. Um, yeah, I mean, like I still want to watch it, but I don't know if I ever will, just
I
because
think if you watch it on like a little
a
screen
little
across
baby
the
screen.
room.
I'm gonna go put it on my 50-inch TV in the living room and get like the get like the surround sound going, so I'm really in it.
Oh, Monze, actually, what you could do, I have like a movie projector. You could get that I got for like $25 off Amazon.
Mm.
So you could get like a little cheapo movie projector and like watch the movie that way because the resolution is so bad
The
that
resolution
like,
sucks. Why would I
but
would
like,
have a TV in my room like I don't need.
but like that way, just run it through like Adobe Media Encoder, like
Adobo
through
media.
the worst settings,
The worst
so that
settings.
it's really shitty, compressed. You can barely see what's
640.
going on,
Uh-huh.
and then watch it. And then like replace the music with like something much happier. So
That's like a lot of editing work I don't want to do. I don't want
just
to
play
do
K-pop in the background the
any of
whole
that.
time.
It'll just be super clap in the background.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts hearing the full detailed
It sounds like a
synopsis?
really good movie. Like I was super immersed. I was super immersed in your story.
I can
Like
tell you were reacting like you were watching the movie.
because it felt like I was watching it. Like you sound like such a great story, you know. Yeah, I was super into it, and that's why I'm just so mad at myself for not having seen it.
Mhm.
Like I definitely want to see it. I think now I feel better knowing what's gonna happen
Mhm.
because sometimes if something frightening happens, I'm like I stop it and then I haven't seen, then I don't watch the
Yeah.
rest of the movie. There's this one movie I started watching like my sophomore year of college, and then a very embarrassing part was gonna happen, and it's been like it's been years. It's been a decade.
Did you tell me about
Almost.
this movie? What movie is
It
it?
was like a movie from the 60s or something. I don't even remember what
Oh,
movie it was. Um,
this sounds familiar though, because I think you've told me you hate secondhand
I
embarrassment.
hate secondhand. So why there's some movies I can't watch because it's so cringy that I just
Yeah.
can't. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
you know that that scene in Hercules when before I wasn't able to watch the scene where Hercules catches the frisbee and then he knocks down the whole thing. For the longest time I couldn't watch that scene.
Yeah.
But the one scene in Hercules, I can watch that scene now, but is when he goes into the new town and he's trying to introduce himself to all those people and they make fun of him. I cannot watch that scene at all. It's just like I hate it.
It looks like what you guys need is a hero.
I'm like, nope. I nope right out of there. Like, I gotta go. I got a real important thing.
And I happen to be a
hero.
I
hate it. I hate it.
Okay, so would you watch this movie, and what would you rate this movie based on what you've heard?
Movie a 10 out of 10. I'm super into it. Like, you don't even know. I had no questions about who any of the characters were. Like, I was like, okay, that guy. Like, I knew exactly who was who, what was happening. Like, I knew what was going to happen, but then even your description of what was going to happen, I was like, oh no! Like, I am legit, like, super. I feel like I just watched Jurassic Park. I know I haven't, obviously, but yeah. I mean, like I said, I do want to watch it. I want to watch it more now. Maybe when this quarter is over.
Yeah. I think I'd rate the movie 8 out of 10. Like, it's a really good movie, and it makes you think. Like, there's, like, other things I was thinking about earlier, like why they have the characters they do and what the characters represent and everything. Like, Ian Malcolm is a really important character because he defines the entire theme. Like you said, hubris, and he's all about chaos theory, and his whole chaos theory is linked to the hubris of all of it. And Michael Crichton is just, like, a good writer who has those themes in a lot of his work. But yeah, it's just so stressful. Like, I knew what was going to happen exactly when it was going to happen, and I still, like, couldn't watch certain things. And I know the dinosaurs are fake. I know they're animatronic. Like, I know I can see the CG, but it still gets me. The suspense still gets me. And I was just so, like, why am I watching this again? It's like when you're on the roller coaster and you're, like, climbing up. You get to the very top. You're like, why am I on this again? And it's just... So... I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think I told my friend, I was like, I know this is your favorite movie, but I just don't enjoy watching this movie, like, at all. I don't need to watch this movie ever again in my entire life. 3 is enough. So, yeah, the music is bombaf.com, though. Like, it's a good movie, for sure, but I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because it stresses me out too much. So, I will say, Jurassic World, I think, is less stressful, and it's a stupider movie, and it's a worse movie. In fact, it's a bad movie, but that one is a little more palatable for me to actually watch. Like, it still stresses me out, but for some reason, the death scenes and everything doesn't, like, get to me as much. I think I'm more invested in the actual dinosaurs, so I'm, like, rooting for the dinosaurs. Because the people just suck. So it's like, I like the velociraptors, I like the water dinosaur, so I'm, like, invested in the raptors and the water dinosaur and, like, the pterodactyls. Everything else is, like, whatever. So, yeah. But, yeah, cool. It sounds like you enjoyed yourself.
I did.
I hope you have just as much fun when you watch the actual movie. I hope
years from now when I'm like, I want to watch a Jurassic Park. I'm gonna talk like that when I'm in my 40s.
Why do you talk like that in your 40s?
I've aged so poorly.
Cool. So, what do we want to talk about in the next episode?
Ooh.
Should we do a movie both of us haven't seen?
If you want. What?
Yeah. Because the last one was Purple Rain, which I hadn't seen.
I was going to ask you if you've seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
You have all this time now, though.
I
It's
know.
so good. Even if you just have it on in the background, you'll look up and be like, what? Or like, oh. Or like, let me replay that. That was a good song. Let me watch that video that goes along with it.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, we should do one that both of us haven't seen.
Are you on the
No.
Maybe. I thought that's what you were doing. I heard clicky-clacky sounds, and I was like, she's looking it up.
I think another thing about Jurassic Park that I really liked is everything that happens was like it was like a series of just little things that on its own wouldn't have caused the movie, but then together caused the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if the storm wasn't happening, then, Dennis wouldn't have gotten lost. He would have gotten back in time to turn the systems back on. Or and he also wouldn't have had to leave early. If he would have left at the time when he was supposed to, after everyone had already left the park, because it was going to close at 7 anyways, because he was going to do it when no one was there. So there's like that, and then there's the poor infrastructure, and then like it's just a series of just all these oversights that culminated into this perfect storm. So, which I enjoy because it means the problem was avoidable.
Mm-hmm.
So if like I was ever in that situation, I'd be like, well, these are the mistakes what not to make.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how about we continue our scary theme? We do The Sixth Sense.
ooh, yeah, I haven't seen that movie.
Okay.
I
think we all know how it ends. Famous line. But...
oh, I got it mixed up with Signs. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so we'll do The Sixth Sense. I forgot what movie it was. Like immediately after I said
Signs.
It. So we're gonna do. I've seen Signs.
I haven't. I'm not gonna watch that movie. Cool.
It really wasn't that scary. Anyway, yeah. Awesome.
Cool. So next week we'll do
I hate when we do that.
Sixth Sense. Or next time we'll do Sixth Sense. Okay. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let us know.
Listening. Thank you for listening.
Well, thanks for watching the art that has not moved in the past hour and plus minutes.
Yeah.
If you've seen Jurassic Park or any of the movies, let us know what you think and which one of your movies is your favorite and what your favorite dinosaur is.
Or if you have movie suggestions,
yes,
feel free to let us know.
Yes. Monze, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at magicmonzter, MONZTER. You can find both of us at haven't seen what at haven't seen what. Also on Twitter. You can email us at youhaven'tseenwhatpodcast@gmail. And then Corinne.
And then you can find me at Corinne is Korean on Twitter and Instagram and wherever. So, cool. I think that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.